What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today I have a very special story that I'd like to tell you about. It was an unusual silence, one that echoed louder than any sound could in that particular moment. It was a silence that carried the weight of unspoken words, of emotions too big to be contained within the bounds of a sentence. It was during one of those moments that life's most profound lessons are learned, the kind of lessons that stick with you, shaping your perspective on the world and your place in it. It all started on a seemingly ordinary day. I had just returned home after a long day at work, my mind still buzzing with the energy of the city, the honk of cars, the chatter of colleagues. But as soon as I stepped through my front door, the noise seemed to fade away. The silence that greeted me was deafening. I found my wife in the living room. She wasn't watching TV. There was no music playing. And yet the silence wasn't uncomfortable. It wasn't the kind that made me want to fill the space with small talk or turn up the volume on the television. It was the kind of silence that invited introspection, that nudged me to look within myself. At first, I didn't understand this. Why were we not talking? Why was there no background noise? Wasn't silence supposed to be awkward, boring even? But then something shifted within me. I realized that this silence wasn't just the absence of sound. It was a presence in itself. It was telling me something important, something I needed to hear. In that silence, I heard the echo of my own thoughts. I heard the whispers of my soul telling me to slow down, to appreciate the quiet, to find joy in the stillness. It was in that moment that I understood the power of silence. It can be a source of strength, of clarity, of connection. As I sat there in the silence with my wife, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. It was a feeling I hadn't experienced in a long time, a feeling of true relaxation, of being at peace with myself and my surroundings. It was as if the silence had a healing touch, mending the small wounds I didn't even know I had. This experience was a turning point for me. It made me realize that we don't always need to fill the silence with words or noise. Sometimes silence is exactly what we need to hear what's important, to connect with ourselves and others on a deeper level. Since then, I've made a conscious effort to embrace silence in my life. I've started to see it not as an awkward pause, but as an opportunity for growth, for reflection, for connection. I've started to notice the beauty in the silence of nature, the way the trees whisper secrets to each other in the wind, the way the birds sing their silent songs in the morning, the way the stars twinkle silently in the night sky. I've also started to appreciate the silence between words, the pauses and silences that happen in conversations. They're not just awkward moments to be filled with small talk. They're opportunities for deeper connection. In those silences, I can hear the unspoken emotions, the subtle cues, the nonverbal communication that adds so much to our conversations. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about our dreams, our goals, our aspirations. As we talked, I noticed that there were moments of silence between us, moments when neither of us knew what to say. At first, I felt the urge to fill the silence, to change the subject or make a joke. But then I stopped. I looked at my friend and I saw that she wasn't uncomfortable with the silence. She was comfortable with it. She was using it to think, to process what we were talking about. And that's when I realized that silence can be a powerful tool for self-discovery. When we're in the silence, we're forced to turn inward. We have no choice but to confront our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs. And that can be uncomfortable at times, but it can also be incredibly liberating. For example, when I'm feeling anxious or stressed, I can use silence to help me calm down. I can take a few deep breaths, close my eyes, and listen to the silence. And in that silence, I can hear the whispers of my soul telling me to relax, to let go, to trust in the process. When I'm feeling creative, I can use silence to help me brainstorm ideas. I can sit in the silence and let my mind wander. And in that wandering, I can discover new ideas, new possibilities, new ways of thinking. One of the things that I love about silence is its ability to bring people closer together. When we're in the silence with someone, we're able to connect with them on a deeper level. We're able to see things from their perspective, to understand their emotions, to empathize with their experiences. I remember being on a retreat with some friends of mine, and we were sitting in silence for hours. At first, it was awkward. We didn't know what to do with ourselves. But then something amazing happened. We started to open up to each other in ways that we never had before. We shared our deepest fears, our darkest secrets, our most intimate dreams. And in doing so, we became closer friends. Silence can also help us to become better listeners. When we're in the silence, we're forced to pay attention to the things that are around us. We're able to hear the birds singing, the trees rustling, the water flowing. And when we're able to appreciate the beauty of the silence, we're also able to appreciate the beauty of the world around us. And when we're able to appreciate the beauty of the world around us, we're also able to appreciate the beauty of the people around us. We become better listeners, more empathetic, more compassionate. I know that embracing silence can be challenging, especially in a world that values busyness and productivity. But I encourage you to try it. I encourage you to sit in silence for just a few minutes each day and see how it makes you feel. You might be surprised by what you discover. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope that it has inspired you to embrace silence in your own life. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you here. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time.